For the past 13 years, I wake up each and every morning with a calendar on who to meet for the day. But nobody really dreams of becoming a financial advisor. No one, really is trained by the school to become a financial advisor. My background is in accounting. That's what I studied for 3 years. And as you can guess from the title, I didn't actually become an auditor. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you my journey, especially why did I actually join Subway for a brief moment of time. And towards the end of the video, I'll be sharing with you what I expect will happen in the future. My dad actually worked as a stripping firm's accountant, and in a lot of ways it shaped my decision to take up accountancy. For 3 years it was supposedly my specialization on how I actually earn a living, but fast forward today, things are very different from how I actually started. And in a lot of ways, I guess kids look up to their parents for career ideas. Kids whose parents are doctors aspire to become doctors. Kids whose parents are teachers think that teaching could be their career path, and I was no exception. I decided to study audit, accountancy, because possibly I would become an accountant. But little did I know that I would change my directions so drastically. Do I actually regret not joining audit? That's something that I think of quite frequently. In some months when times are a bit tougher, when sales numbers are not as smooth as it usually is, I'll be thinking how nice it would be to have a stable career path, have bonuses that are coming, have next month's paycheck all but guaranteed. But in a lot of ways, I also do feel privileged to choose this career path that I've been onto, simply because I have a lot of freedom. This YouTube channel, I guess, would never have happened if I was in the audit career path. Because I was in self-employed financial advisor, I could decide what kind of projects, how I pursue my own marketing strategies in a lot of ways. So I had that freedom. I also had freedom in deciding what kind of time I want to take to spend with my family. When my wife has leave, I can actually take leave to go to Malaysia anytime. And that was actually the schedule for the last couple of years. We would take every 2 months a trip to Malaysia. I even have a Malacca blog, which I'll leave links below if you're curious to find about it. So yes, in a lot of ways, studying accountancy has values, has benefits to me. I understand balance sheets a lot better. That's why you would see that in this channel I share investing ideas. I look at some of the company's balance sheets and give my point of view. So that's how things came about. So in the next part, I'll also be sharing with you why I actually went into Subway. Now, have you read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad? If you have, you kind of understand what I'll be suggesting in this coming chart over here. The reason I went to do Subway as a part-time job is because I wanted to understand Subway's operations, to consider buying Subway as a franchisee. Now, before that, let's look at this chart over here on Rich Dad Poor Dad. This really explains finance in a lot of ways. The poor usually have income, and everything that they have in terms of income is actually expensed out. They have no chance to buy any assets. Those who are in this trap typically stay in rental flats, for example. What about the middle class? The middle class, as you can see over here, once they have income, they buy things that look like assets, but they are actually liabilities. And those are, for example, an expensive house to stay in, an expensive car to drive, and that actually mounts up their expenses unknowingly. So what we can learn is the rich, when they have income, they try to buy assets. They are focused on assets such as real estate, assets such as stocks, and of course businesses. That is why I was so shaped by this book in terms of thinking, how can I buy businesses? That's why franchising was a very natural progression of thinking. So the next part is why I went to work in Subway. I actually worked there for 2 months only. I worked as a sandwich artist. So in that period of time, I was of course trained to pack sandwiches. In the peak period of time where there's a queue of 20-30 people in Raffles Place, people are making requests for you to make the sandwiches. I was involved in that, and that actually gave me a little bit of operational training in a lot of ways. But again, that only gave me operational background. At most, gave me an insight to profitability for an outlet. And what I learned is there can be months whereby there even is losses for an outlet because there isn't enough crowd to deal with. Now, that stint in Subway was very scratching the surface. It did not really let me understand in terms of human resource, HR, what kind of labor issues there are running a business such as F&B. It did not share with me what kind of problems are there in terms of marketing, especially in terms of F&B. So that's why I've always suggested on this channel, if you followed a few other videos, get involved with a side hustle or business that you are naturally already good in. You have years of experience. Don't do it like me whereby I go and do 2 months as a part-time sandwich artist, and then what happens is I think I know the industry and I try to go into F&B and things didn't actually turn out that well. So it's quite interesting at the period of time, because that was when I've graduated already. We were all working full-time, and I was actually using a little bit of afternoon time as a financial advisor to go and work as a sandwich artist. And what happens in Raffles Place, I'll bump into friends who are actually in audit firms, and they're down actually at Subway and they're looking at me like, hey, why are you doing sandwich artist, Josh? Are you in trouble or not? So it was quite a weird experience. It was very humbling, but I thought that was a time where I wanted to work, to gain experience. So I wasn't too afraid with that embarrassing moment. So now this part I want to share with you on franchising, and it's really from what I've seen, in terms of my perspective. I believe franchising is really like buying a job. So if you have inherited wealth, if you have made a big insurance claim, you have struck lottery, I wouldn't suggest going to franchising unless you are interested in kind of buying a job for yourself, because franchising is not really entrepreneurship. We don't have a lot of room to exercise creativity. There isn't a lot of exponential revenue growth that we can discuss. It's really grinding out month in, month out. So I guess all franchises, 7-Eleven franchises, Yakun 7 franchises, kind of have that thing. It's kind of like a paid job that you buy using capital that you have. So strongly consider, is that something that fits what you're looking at? If not, just use that money to do investments. There isn't too much hassle, too much stress also, as compared to running a franchise. Sharing is because I've heard your feedback that you want something that's non-investment, something that's personal. So hopefully I've delivered on it. And at this juncture, we're at 10k subs mark. Hopefully when you're viewing this, we're way past that mark, and I'll share more in the future also when we reach 20k and 50k. So again, if you have subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't, inviting you to join our family. And to end things with, as what I promised to you at the start, what I see and what I expect in the future. This is relating to this video's topic. In the future, employers are going to hire people very differently. Google, for example, are hiring people who have studied in the Google University itself. They don't need Harvard, they don't need Oxford, they don't need traditional universities teaching their employees what skill sets they need. So traditional education is going to be very different 20 years down the road. And there's this article that I also like to introduce you for broadening your knowledge as to how the world is going to be reshaped by artificial intelligence. This article actually mentions, in the future, it's not a particular skill set that's going to help you stand out in your industry. It's being this generalist mindset, having multiple in-domain expertise. Something like, you study accounting, you did some other work somewhere else and found out different dynamics between different industries. So if you're mid of career, think how you want to reshape differently so you are remaining to be employable. Hopefully this is a quick tip. Hopefully it benefited you some way. Smash on a like so more people can see valuable content like this. I'll sign off. Take care and goodbye.